Sanbonani, Dumelang, Manero, Shani, good evening. Day three of our African Heritage Language Challenge, brought to you by Rera Language School and myself, Matswane Sekhwale. Thank you again for joining us today. It's been absolutely fantastic still to get all your feedback. It's been an interesting ride, just seeing the kind of things that people are interested in, the kind of comments that are happening. Many of you still are sharing privately, if I can call it that, in terms of direct messaging, which is great. It's nice to engage one-on-one. Again, for the new people here, thank you for joining us. This is day 3, as I said. And for those of you who may choose to join, go to our website, rera.africa, and that's where you'll see the form in terms of how to join. Great. Today we're talking about myths, the myths of loss of language, or what, or language learning in itself. Thought I'd try something new, go to my comfort zone, which is slideshows. I spend many a year doing that, and I still have also some notes to be able to help me with the process too, which is great. So what are we sharing today? Let's go to this show. So I said it already, this is a 40-day session. We started it 3 days ago already. So it's an opportunity where we're just sharing what it is that we do around languages. Weekday, we share tips. I share tips. We have a Zoom call on Saturday. Again, please go and register, rera.africa, if you want to be able to join in. One of my favorite days, Sunday, you get to play. Here are the themes for the 2 weeks. As I said, we're in day 3 now. So what are these myths? Only children can learn languages. I think for all the tips that I'm going to share here, if I had a dime for each one of them, I'd be a very rich woman. Yeah, jokes aside. This is something that you hear a lot. I'm too old to learn a language. Children are the only ones who can learn languages. If you don't do it before 7, it's not going to happen. Much of the world is multilingual also. I have seen it among the people that I work with, my students, who some of them have only started learning a new language in their 40s. Some of them had learned a language earlier, but forgot it for whatever reason, or did not use it for whatever reason, like a bicycle. If you don't ride it, you lose it. But also there are other people who experience language for the first time in their 20s, 30s, whatever it may be, 40s. I think I've even had people in their 50s doing that. And that's my experience, but there are many other experiences which are out there. So everybody can learn. There are many studies too that tell us that learning a language even later in life is also a great way of stemming things like Alzheimer's and dementia. So learn a language and keep the brain active, I guess, is the key message there. Second one, you've got to have that language gene. You've got to be good with languages. I can't do it. I've got a brain that's not wired for learning languages. What you resist persists is what I'd say around that one. It's also that I don't think they found that gene yet. Maybe they will. Maybe somebody out there is looking for it and staying with it. My personal belief, motivation, having the motivation, putting in the time. Again, for those of you who are on, who are looking at this from your emails and have worked on your plans, have looked at the things that you want to be able to do, the small steps that you're going to take every day to, and are starting to implement that. You're motivated. That's the spirit, and I believe that's the way to be able to do it. you shouldn't learn more than one language at a time. Uh, most of the world is bilingual. Most of the world is multilingual. Think in your day, if you're watching this from South Africa, I think, or many of us on this will be able to say that, you know, you yourself probably speak more than one language, but also there are many people in your life, there are many people in around who speak 2, 3, 4, 5 languages. I think I saw a stat somewhere saying that a president speaks um, all 11 languages. I'm not sure, but that, hey, that's pretty impressive. I was trying to also remember a quote that I saw from Trevor Noah in his book where he talks about this, but I can't remember. But he's also one of those people having grown up, and I think that's an example. People who grew up in urban areas like Johannesburg, like Soweto, and other surrounding townships, there are so many languages that are around. In the house, you're speaking one language. At school, you speak a different language. Your friends may speak a totally different language. So you get to learn so many others. And that's even more true for people who speak more of the minority languages, if I can put it that way. You also need to be able to look at what's happening around you, and you can see most of the world, as I said, is multilingual. Languages never die. This one sadly is not true. There's a stat that says that 14 languages that die. Sorry, there's a language that dies every 14 days. Now, calculate if in Africa we're said to have over 2,000 languages. If each one of those is dying every day, that's a pretty, for at least for me, for somebody in this line of work, it's a pretty sad state to be. Here's an example. This woman, sorry, who have put myself over the beautiful face. She is said to be the last speaker of the San language, and I may have murdered the way I'm about to pronounce this. I think it's Mu. And it's she's said to be the last speaker. A few years ago, herself and her two sisters were the last three speakers, but I know when I looked it up around the time that she got this Order of the Baobab for the preservation of languages, and yay, it's great to see that recognition. She was the last speaker of her language. And that's not, we're not talking about very far away, we're talking right here at home. So yeah, that's something interesting just to be able to consider and to think about. I'm trying to go back to sharing. You can see my beautiful face. Well, I apologize for that. I don't know what I've done. Well, there's some which are myths, but they also have a ring of truth to it. For instance, reading and writing is essential for learning languages. Well, it's not true when you consider that all of us, it doesn't matter who you are, we all started by speaking without reading and writing. We all picked that up. Yeah, when we start the learning process of being able to acquire reading, average age of 5 or so, 5 to 7. And yeah, that's it. But at the same time, it has a ring of truth to it, if I can, because it helps. As an example, if you're learning a language to be able to study purposes, you have to know how to read and write it. You can't get away from that. If you are the type of learner who is visual in that sense, not just from a picture perspective, seeing the word written down helps you to be able to remember it, then of course reading and writing is essential in that sense. Maybe bilinguals speak each language at the same level. It's not true in some cases. It depends. It's not true when you don't have the amount of exposure that you have in one language versus another. It is true if you have the similar amount of exposure. Again, the example of the different, there are many people who are very multilingual, are very versed in different languages. I'd like to believe that I'm pretty well versed in a number of languages at the same level. The two that come to mind is Sesotho and English. And I believe that I speak them at the same level. Can I say the same about other languages that I've been exposed to in a formal and informal perspective basis that I've learned it that way? Absolutely not. I know them at different levels. It's not necessary to learn a new language because the whole world is moving to English. Again, most of the world is multilingual or bilingual. So how does that work? It goes back to the point of language loss. If that's what we're going to believe, that means that languages are going to be lost, and they're going to continue to be lost. I love these two quotes from Nelson Mandela. You can read them to yourself. I just wish he'd said people or me. Great. So I believe what you resist persists. What you reap is what you sow. It is what you believe. Tell me, have I told the truth in terms uh, of this? How does this hold true for you in your experiences? What are the things that you think are real for you? What are the things that are not real for you in relation to this aspect around language learning and language sharing? So again, for those of you on the challenge, you'll see this on email. Maybe you'll receive the email before this, or you'll see this as part of the link in your emails. Let me know, what do you think? Again, even those who are not on the challenge and you're seeing this wherever you're seeing it, I'd still welcome the feedback. Feedback is great. Like I said, I've been amazed about with the amount of feedback that we've received, and we've sifted through around this. And task for today: go back to your goals and read it again. Read it or them again. When you set a goal, you recite it, you look at it, you visualize it, you act on it on a daily basis. That's the way it comes true. Thinking about it only and not acting does not necessarily work for, at least for many of us. Go check yourself and just see how you're doing on this. Celebrate yourself. With regards to these myths, again, please note down what the ones that you can think of. I'd really love to engage a bit more about this. I've just scratched on the surface. There are many more that I can think of, but these are the ones that I suppose I hear most. These are the ones I tend to read about a lot, most in general news, and also when I look at industry news. So yeah, keep sharing, join us, go to rera.africa, and we will see you tomorrow. Thank you.